Hello all, welcome to your session on modelling a nut in Autodesk Fusion. We're going to start with Fusion Open and a new design. We are going to start with a sketch, which is the basis for all of your modelling in Fusion. You almost always start with a 2D sketch on a plane and then build it up into 3D and work on it from there. So your sketch button is on this set of tools along the top row. Your furthest left one is Create Sketch. Click on that. You'll now be shown the planes of existence that you can draw on. You've got the XY plane, the YZ plane, and the XZ plane. I'm going to pick the XY plane, not for any particular reason, just because it's a standalone model. As you get further into your progression with Fusion, you might want to start picking different planes depending on the orientation you need your objects to be. But for now, XY is okay. So we need to draw a hexagon. So we are going to go up along these options have now changed because we're now in a 2D workspace. So we're going to hit the Create drop-down menu. And then a few options down, it says Polygon. And straight across it says Circumscribe Polygon. And I'm going to click on the origin point of our sketch, which is where the two axes meet. So click there, and that's defined the center point of my circumscribed polygon. I have picked circumscribed out of the three options available for polygon because we've been given the dimension across the flats of our hexagon rather than across the points, which is where you would use an inscribed. But yeah, we're using a circumscribed polygon here. You can make it as big or as small as you want it. Don't worry about that too much about that right now. You can also change how many sides your polygon has. So you could go 3 and end up with a triangle, or you could go for 25 and end up with something that looks very much like a circle. But we want 6, we're building a hex nut. We'll leave it at 6. So you can just click and you'll end up with a blue hexagon. Now we're going to dimension this properly now. So you can check your resources sheet and you've got your little drawing of this hex nut. We're going to go up to near the Create tab. If you want to get rid of a tool, if you're saying, you can just hit Escape and that will put you back in a cursor. So we're going to go up here and along, usually it's in your quick access menu for the Create tab. If it's not, you can click on Create again, a bit like how we found the polygon, but go all the way to the bottom of the menu and click Sketch Dimension. So we've now got the Sketch Dimension tool selected, and now we're going to pick two opposite parallel sides, so that one, and that will give us the distance between the two. We can see from our drawing that we want that to be 18. So just click again so that to place where your little label is going to be, change that to 18, hit enter to confirm, and now we've got a correctly sized hexagon. Now that we've done that, we can come out of our sketch environment. So you can hit finish sketch just down here on your what's called your sketch palette. Just at the bottom is a finish sketch button. Click on that and we get returned back to the 3D world of our design workspace. Okay, so we're going to select our extrude, which is in here. If it's not in your quick access menu, it's in the create menu, just a little bit down, one of the first few options. Click extrude, click on your hexagon. If it doesn't automatically select it, you just click on it and it will come up with it will highlight it in blue and come up with a little blue arrow. Zoom out a little bit. And we can grab that arrow and drag it up to turn our hexagon into 3D. We can see from our drawing over here that we want it to be 8mm tall, so we can just type 8 into that box there. It'll give us an exact value, hit enter, and now we've got a 3D shape. Next up, we need to stick a hole in it. So once again, we head back to the Create menu, and we come down about halfway down. You've got the hole option. We'll click that, and then we'll select the top face of our hexagon. Fusion will now place that hole wherever we've clicked, which is probably not quite where we want it. So we'll go and have a look at our top view by using the visualization cube. And over here, grab the hole by this blue dot and drag it into the middle of our hexagon. It will snap into the middle, so we know that's perfectly in the middle. And now we can have a look at it from the side view and have a look at all these options we've got over here. Don't worry about the first view for now, but we know that our hole type, it just needs to be a normal, straightforward hole, doesn't need any counterbores or countersinks. We want it to be tapped. Now, your Fusion might decide that default option is actually a simple hole, so it's just a clean cut hole all the way through your model. We need a thread, so we're going to select tapped. And then don't worry about thread offset. If you want to get rid of the drill point, you can get rid of that. It doesn't make a massive difference as long as your hole depth is longer than your model. So just make sure that it is at least as wide as your model, if not longer. If it's longer, it doesn't make a difference. It's okay, you'll still just cut it out. What you don't want to do is make it shorter, and you end up with a hole that doesn't get all the way through. But Fusion's usually pretty good at getting that right, so you should be able to just leave that as it is. And now we're going to select our thread type right at the bottom. Because we've selected a tapped hole, it gives us a bunch more options. So we can see from our drawing that we have an M12 thread. So click on this size here and pick 12. And now Fusion's pretty good at sorting everything out from there, but if you want more granular control, you can start changing some of these things, change it from a right hand to a left hand thread, change its class and its metric profile, but we'll leave that for now, it's good enough. And then the last thing we're going to do is hit modeled. This is somewhat just so that we can actually see the thread. If you don't click model, Fusion will just put like a texture over the hole to represent it being threaded, which is much better for running efficiently. But if, for example, you were going to 3D print this nut, you need to hit that modeled button, otherwise you will just end up with a nut with a smooth hole in the middle of it. But that's our hole done with all the threads correctly dimensioned, so we can now hit OK, and that will generate our hole with our thread in it. Okay, you've got your model nut with a hole with a thread in it. Now we're going to do the top chamfer. I'll leave you to do the rest of the chamfers after I've shown you this, but this one we're going to do in a slightly different way than just using the chamfer tool. We are going to go and create a sketch and use the XZ plane so that we've got one of the points of the hex pointing out of the screen rather than having a flat pointing at the screen like this. Don't want that. What I'm about to show you won't work if you do it that way. You need to be facing it this direction. So sketch in the XZ plane. Now you're going to find the project tool. The project tool is actually in create, just above sketch dimension is the first option. And now we can project this edge. We want to be able to see this edge in our current sketch, which allows us to reference it without it being part of the physical model. We're going to hit that, hit OK. Now we've got a little purple dot to show that it's projecting where the position of that edge is. Now you're going to select line tool up here, click on the little purple dot so it intersects with the edge of the nut. Pull down a reasonably long line at a sort of downward angle rather than up, and you'll end up with a line. Then we're going to go straight up until it shows us that we've arrived at the same level as the sort of top face of our nut. So click there again, and then we can bring it back and finish our triangle by joining back up to the black dot. Amazing. Now we're going to dimension this triangle, mostly just to have the right angle. So find your dimension tool, which again could be at the bottom of your create menu. We're going to click on the downwards diagonal line and the straight line to the left, which will give us the angle between them. Click to place the position of the label, and we can see from our drawing that needs to be a 30 degrees. So we'll hit 30, hit enter, and that will open that up perfectly. Now we can press finish sketch. We'll leave that like that. Now we're going to use the revolve tool, which should be in your quick access menu. Again, if it's not, it's the option just under extrude in the create menu. So we'll hit that. It will possibly automatically highlight your triangle. If it doesn't, just click on it, and then you're going to come over to the right to the revolve menu, click on axis, and select whatever your vertical axis, which in my case is the Z. If you've used a different plane, it'll be something else. As soon as you click on the x-axis, it will automatically do the revolve. It will by default do 360 degrees, but you can take hold of this little blue circle and spin it around and do less. Alternatively, you can change the number in the box if you want a specific value. We're happy with 360 degrees though. We want it to cut all the way around, and that gives us our chamfers around the corners of our nut. So I will leave you with that. All you need to do now is to add the chamfers and rounds that I have not added. Good luck. I'll see you in the next one.